All right, so I got another triple feature here for you from 2026. I actually got a found footage film in here this time, thankfully. 2025 was a really bad year for found footage. I want to say I only liked maybe three found footage films the whole friggin' year, maybe more, maybe four. And I don't even know if I watched 15 of them, right? It was just, there wasn't really anything that looked interesting. So if I missed something from last year that was found footage that you think that we should have watched, definitely let us know. But to my knowledge, I didn't miss anything that was an absolute must watch. So yeah, hopefully this year is different. But yeah, triple feature, three films, 2026. Let's jump into it. So the first film I'm just going to say is the found footage film, which is called Be My Valentine, which is about a young girl who gets obsessed with this guy and starts filming herself as she pursues him. Of course, a lot of this is unbeknownst to him. She's going to his house after following him home, looking through his windows, sneaking into his house, investigating into his life because she's convinced he is her soulmate and he's not like the other guys. And she is going to prove it, and he's going to be her Valentine. This is an obsession film. Now, this is a ultra low budget, probably $0 budgeted found footage film for, so everything pretty much relies on two things: the premise, which is the writing, and also, of course, the performances. Right, those two things you can kind of do for free for the most part. So, as far as the premise goes, I mean, it's a premise that we've seen quite a few times at this point, even within the found footage subgenre, which is fine. It doesn't matter as long as it elevates that material or does well with it. Then that's fine. And then the performance here, our main lead performance, which is what this whole film centers around and hinges upon, is good. Amateur, of course, but I think in a lot of areas it's good. She's kind of classically like maniacal and over the top and zany and intense. And, I'm sure if she was a more seasoned veteran of acting that she would be a little bit more refined with it. But regardless, I still think her performance is captivating enough that I actually made it through the film. Now, the movie is only about an hour long. Unfortunately, on the other side of that, with the acting, I think everybody else's acting in the movie is pretty terrible, especially her counterpart that she's, wanting to be with. They have no chemistry. Now, that could be, of course, an argument for the film that, they're not really supposed to know each other very well. This is a very disturbed person who's seeing something that isn't there. But the interactions between them are so forced. They're so fake. It's not even slightly realistic. And as you guys know, with found footage, it's all about the realism. That's what makes the subgenre work, is that it needs to feel authentic. And it absolutely does not. Not even her performance feels authentic most of the time. But it's still entertaining enough that I got through it. Plus, this girl has the most defined canines. I don't know if this actress was chosen because of that or if this is just a friend or something, but that absolutely added to it. She has these very defined canines that almost look vampiric. I was staring at them like, Jesus Christ, those are intense vampire fangs that this girl has. They're definitely hers. They're definitely real. But yeah, I mean, anybody who isn't a found footage enthusiast, I would not recommend this to at all, because I think that you'll think this is dreadful. Found footage enthusiast, if you are interested in that premise, this is okay-ish. Mostly, it's not very good, okay? But I did like the girl's performance. I liked following it. I just wish there was more to it in that department, and I really wish that the male protagonist of the film that she's following around, A, was a better actor, and B, had better chemistry with her so that I could actually buy into the fact she's pursuing this guy relentlessly. So it just ended up not working for me, but I did like the girl. It got me through it. That's that. We'll move on to the next film, which is also an obsession film called Sweetness, which you have a teenage girl who's obsessed with this rock musician. And I can only assume that this guy is based upon, or at least inspired by, Youngblood. They have a very similar look and whatnot, but regardless, she becomes obsessed with him. She goes to his concert. She's going to prove that they're meant to be together. That doesn't go all so well because it's just a concert, and then she goes outside and she's just like, thinking about things, and she ends up running into him, or maybe he runs into her. Uh, Eventually, he becomes a prisoner of hers. Very misery, of course. And I really liked our performance from our lead girl here. I think she absolutely sells the teenage obsessive who is dealing with her own mental traumas and kind of taking it out on the guy. I was a bit confused by certain aspects of the film for sure, especially the ending. I'm not really sure how things ended up the place in which they did. Like, there's something that happens where things kind of conveniently fall in place, and I just don't feel like there's a strong enough explanation. And I'm kind of like, wait, how would that work? Because this happened and that happened. So, and then it just kind of happens, as I said, the ending, and it's just kind of like, oh, it almost feels mastermind-ish, but it feels like it's tacked on, not that it was actually masterminded either by the writer or the character. So it felt forced, it felt fake, it didn't feel real, and I was kind of left scratching my head a bit in the end. But the acting between everyone is good. I think the actor playing the singer is good. You know, I wish I would have gotten more out of the story and their relationship and their connection with one another, and more time spent between them, and kind of really getting into the obsession and his reaction to that, because they're trying to get you to go like, is he actually going to buy into this and change and whatnot, because she's doing it for a reason. And at some points you kind of wonder if that's the way they're going, but I would have liked to have seen more with him and like who he is. So ultimately it was okay. It was okay. It was an okay, like, misery knockoff type of film, like The Loved Ones or something, where a girl's obsessed with a boy, imprisons him, and tries to make him love her. Um, if you like those types of movies, this is an okay watch, but it definitely has a good amount of flaws to it. But it's better than the other one that I just mentioned. And then lastly here, I was sent a screener from someone, and I didn't even ask for this movie, actually. They just sent it to me in an email, and I was like, all right, I'll check this out. It is on Tubi. This movie's called Death Cipher, and this is about a disgraced journalist who is agoraphobic, and she stumbles upon something that makes her investigate this new story while kind of wrestling with what she's done. She has something she did in the past that she regrets. It's really fucked her up. And now a lot of the movie just takes place in her apartment, and she's making calls. Now, originally going into this, I actually thought this was a screen life film, like a movie that's completely on a laptop screen, like an Unfriended or something. It is not like that. It is traditional narrative filmmaking, with the fourth wall and everything. So I I was a little bit bummed by that, but that's fine. That's all good. And as far as like this having a very low to zero budget, I actually think this is shot very well, especially like the lighting and whatnot. I think it looks pretty good. And I also think the performance, especially from our lead, is quite good. Amateurish, as you know, is the case with the first film for sure. The second film feels a little bit higher ended on the acting side of things. Like they feel like a little bit more seasoned actors. And then this one kind of falls back into the lower budgeted amateur acting, but good. I mean, on the better side of amateur acting. There's still a bit of a stiffness there. You're kind of working off that stiffness, but I think it's you know, I think it's good for what it is. As far as the story goes, I will admit that I found myself a tad confused it at points, especially the ending. I would honestly, I'd have to go back and rewatch the whole thing, which I almost considered doing just because I was like, huh? What the fuck is this ending now? I am so confused on what just happened. So, a very, very confusing ending. In fact, I went to like reviews online, and the common sentiment from the few reviews I did see for this film, all of them had the same, I have no idea what happened in the end. He even made a post, the director, and I looked at a couple comments, and they're like, oh, it's a pretty good movie, but I have no idea what happened at the end. I'm with them. I also didn't, but maybe on a second viewing, now that I know what to look for, maybe I would be able to piece things together, right? I would be able to crack the code, which is kind of what this movie is. And this is what had me intrigued, is that I am a big fan of like hunt to killer type games, or like these code breaker type games. I buy them all the time. The exit games, the card game where you have to put together the puzzles and solve all these different riddles and all these different, you know, as I said, puzzles. And I am a big fan of that stuff. I love that stuff. I love that stuff in film. And while they present a decent amount of stuff, and there's some cool stuff here too, right? Like she stumbles upon these different videos and different things that are sent to her house, and she's like having to piece them together. I would have liked more out of that for sure, for them to build more of a mystery through the puzzles, and like, you know, seeing the puzzles kind of come together as she like cracks it. There are a couple moments where she does, where I'm kind of like, I don't really know how she cracked that one, but okay, I'll just roll with it. So you know, I would have liked to have seen a little more effort put into that side of things, like almost an escape room, which I love going to. Uh, you know, where you just kind of look around, you find the clues, you piece together the things. I I love that stuff. So I was very excited about this, and I think that I was intrigued. I mean, I definitely made it through the whole film. I think it's well shot. I think the acting is pretty good, as I had said. There's just some key areas where I feel like maybe it could have used some work. And then if the ending was supposed to make sense, I don't know if the breadcrumbs that were left throughout were were big enough for us to follow that path and then have that kind of dawn on us in the end, like what the hell happened. So when you have an ending like that, I definitely you want the audience to be like, oh, I think I know what that means. But honestly, when everyone's kind of like, huh, then you're definitely I think we missed something along the way. But I think the movie shows promise. I do. I think that there's some promising aspects of it for sure. So I definitely look forward to seeing what the director does next. And I like this. Like I liked it okay. I liked it okay. So there you go. Nothing that I'm really highly recommending or anything here, but nothing I hated. Typically, if I make it through the film, unless I see it in the theater, then I kind of have to sit there. But these days, I've been turning off a lot of stuff. I'll get through like 5-10 minutes. I just shut off a movie literally as I went to press record on this. I was about to sit down and watch a movie. I watched about 10 minutes of it, and I was like, no, I'm not doing this. I can't get through this fucking movie. I'm not going to mention what movie it is, because unless I finish a movie, I'm not going to sit here and dog it out. But I genuinely could not get through it. I thought it was awful. So, these were okay enough for me to get through. If that gives you any indication of some quality, at least, or some intrigue, or I don't know. Anyway, that being said, though, sometimes like if I get 40 minutes in, 45 minutes in, by that point I'm like, no, I'm committed to this shit now. So that's that. Anyway, all right, 3 films. Let me know if you've seen any of them. Let me know if you watch any of them, and I'll see you in the comments. And also, thank you for sending me the screener. That was cool. All right, adios.